What a lovely morning. We got the old Chevy done. Now we gotta come work on this. A Buick. What is this thing? An 06 Buick. Is it a LaCrosse, Lucerne, something? Buick LaCrosse CX, it says. And apparently, let's see if this one works. Ooh, this one works. It runs rough, under load, and the engine light's on. Let's see, before we start it, let's turn this off, turn that off. Okay, music, that's turned off. I think, is that turned on? Oh, nope. Classic rock. It's both classic and it rocks. This is an L26 3.8 with or without air pump. We'll say it's with an air pump. And digital radio receiver not responding. Maybe we'll turn that on, turn it down. We'll hit continue. Dual zone or single zone? Why do you have so many questions? We'll see what codes it has stored in it. I'm assuming misfire codes. So we'll let this get booted up here and establish its communication. It's got 129,907 on it. It looks like we have a code in the PCM and a code in the airbag. We will see what the codes are. Ooh, we have the classic 420. That will not make it run crappy. And then a passenger presence system 1 performance. Okay. The PO420 could be results of the poor running. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into data. So let's find what we want to find. We'll take it for a shake. A lot of times when the car is cold like this, it's best to go through and kind of look at, you know, coolant temp and it's, you know, the car sat overnight, you know, do all the temp sensors seem to match, you know, any kind of anomalies or anything you see right off that sometimes only, you know, often takes a minute just scrolling through some scan data. All right, well, it seems to start well. Sounds pretty quiet. I'm gonna get my misfire up here on the screen. All right, I've got my misfire data. We're gonna take it for a shake. I'll put my seatbelt on. All right, let's ride. I don't think there's any cars coming. Well, there's one coming that way. We'll go around Pigtail Alley here. He did say that the car has to be warmed up. The warmer it gets, the worse it gets. So we'll go out and get it good and toasty. And then he says if you're hammering on it going up a hill, it really gets a hitch and it's giddy up. Seems pretty good right there. We'll take a shortcut. The old cedar tree, a non-native tree to this area. Let's hammer down. Whoa, baby! This seems to have good power. Starting to warm up. We're about 3/4 the way to operating temperature. We'll blow it UV here. We'll come back. There. Now we'll go back to the shop. we'll let her idle for a while, get some good heat under the hood. You know, perhaps it's a heat soak problem. Torque converter's locking up now. Oftentimes with, you know, secondary ignition misfires, particularly on GM, I notice like they have a sweet spot between, let's say, like 48 and 55. Get a slight grade like we're gonna have up here, like let's say 1% grade in the road, and you just barely tip into it with a torque converter locked up. Usually if you're gonna have a problem, that's when it is. It's like that perfect mixture. So I'll wait till we come up to this little rise in the road here. We're going about 50. See if we can't feel anything there. So we'll just tip into the throttle here just enough to keep it locked up. We'll let her go back, heat soak, idle. We'll do some visual inspection. These 3.8s are mouse collecting machines. For whatever reason, mice love getting under that engine cover. Been driving idling quite a while at the shop. Visual inspection didn't really reveal anything. So we're going to kind of load her down up this hill. This is a pretty steep hill. Try some various engine loads here. Throttle right now. Definitely not feeling his surging or misfire he's talking about. It sounds like the exhaust is super restricted though. I did see it has that PO420, but when you're hammering on it, you know, you can really hear the exhaust hissing. That gives me a little concern. Maybe we'll get back, throw it up in the air, see what that looks like. You hear some pinging. I guess I can look at the knock retard PID. You know, let's say the exhaust is restricted and, you know, it's creating a lot of heat in the cylinders. You know, we could get some pinging, and then, you know, the knock sensor will pull back the timing and usually give it a feeling of lack of power. Hill. It's a pretty long, steep pole. Engine runtime is going on about 40 minutes. So this here's a pretty steep grade. Try to lug her down as much as I can. I do hear some pinging in the engine, so we'll pull over here. Oh, pull over next to the Wellington Way. right next to the Kensingtons. I was just plotting the rear O2. I wanted to kind of see the overall health of that converter under load. It does appear to work. It does sound like it's, you know, getting choked out. We're going to pop into some ignition data, and I just want to see what the knock sensor is doing. So I'm going to look at the spark retard here as I drive, just out of curiosity. Let me just pull that up into a graph. No parameters selected. Get ding dong. There we go. I'll get that up into a graph now that we can see, you know, if this thing starts, you know, chopping timing back when I'm under a load here. I have to peel out. Which I wouldn't be surprised if it is, but about 6 degrees of timing right there. Bad, not as much as I expected. That's right to the rug. Well, I'm going to head back to the shop. I usually don't spend more than an hour driving somebody's car trying to duplicate their complaint. Well, I will give it a visual inspection on that exhaust though to see if it's, you know, just choked right out. See if somebody's been down there playing. This fella a call and see what the deal is. Sometimes with engine lights on, people oftentimes become over hypersensitive, I'll call it. I think I've mentioned this in other videos. You know, the engine light comes on, now all of a sudden they're, you know, smelling things, feeling things, hearing things, which is not all that uncommon. And then we fix the light, let's say, you know, was on for an evap problem, we fix it, now all of a sudden all the squeaks and rattles and smells and sounds and stuff are all miraculously disappear. I think it's the power of suggestion. Looks like the soybeans are ready to be harvested, huh? Get that time of year. Got her up in the air. Somebody gave her the old hack and tack. They got that baby down at the Dollar Tree. So I'm assuming this is our restriction. Unbelievable. You know, it probably took longer to do this mess than it did to actually do it right. If you were going to do it right, would be my guess. And then, you know, obviously we have the P0420, but you can see the big pipe restriction there, and you know, who knows how it's, you know, cobbled up inside that universal cat. Hey, he's mowing lawn, what do you know? You know, we got, you know, undersized muffler and I'm gonna call it quits on this one. You know, everything just kind of jury rigged on here. So what I would say, or my suggestion would be, you know, obviously put a factory exhaust back on it. You know, get the pipe of the correct size so this engine can breathe. You know, it's an obvious restriction when we drive it because you can hear it, you know, whistling like crazy. In regards to his, you know, surging or skip, I can't really comment on that because, well, frankly, we didn't get it tacked up. All right, folks, that's it. Looking at the exhaust, sorry to say the cracker. You guys will, you know, hopefully have obviously seen, you know, the cob job that's all under there. You know, an undersized muffler, a catalytic converter that's been, you know, cobbled in there with pipe that's obviously too small, and that's why we have, you know, the sound of restriction. It would be my suggestion to replace that with, you know, an OEM converter, particularly one that's, you know, New York compliant. And then, you know, I hate to say it, the rest of the exhaust system, the car's got to be able to breathe. Could not duplicate the customer complaint of the skipping, bucking, surging, even after, you know, having a total runtime of 50 minutes ended up being by the time we shut it off. I don't want to sound rude or disrespectful or anything like that, but I usually don't spend any more time than that. If I can't duplicate the customer's complaint of, you know, poor running under the conditions in which they give me, you know, which was, you know, start it, let it run, let it warm up, drive it, you know, heavy acceleration up a hill, runs poorly. And then of course the complaint of the engine light. Usually if I can't duplicate that within an hour, unless they want to pay me to drive the car all day or however long it takes, I usually call it quits at that because I have, you know, a flat 1 hour charge. So I put that time into it, give it the best attempt to duplicate their problem, and then, you know, I just move on with my day. I'll give them a couple choices at that point. You know, either A, they can, you know, we can keep going, or what I often do is say, you know, if you get a chance, come down, drive your car, get it to act up, come and get me. You know, that way they can spend the hours of, you know, driving it around, and perhaps they have different driving habits. I usually leave stuff set on the inside like they have it set. Like this, for example, you know, leave the radio on. You know, I turn the radio back on in this car, turn the volume way down. Sounds ridiculous. You know, you know, I see the AC was on in this car, so I just turned it up on, you know, defrost, so the AC pump was still running, you know, things like that. Kind of leave the same loads, leave everything, don't touch anything, don't fiddle with stuff under the hood, see if you can get it to act up, and then, you know, go from there. But in this case, we couldn't. Let me know what you guys do. You guys work in the shop when you can't duplicate a customer complaint. How much time do you spend with it? Do you get out? Do you fiddle with stuff until the point you create a problem? I try not to do that, but I'd like to know down there in that comment box. Let me know what you think. While you're down there, click subscribe, ring that bell, and just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.